Hello, welcome back to the channel. We are now on part 4 of the initial maintenance schedule for the 2021 Brute Force 300. It's my daughter's quad. We're getting it ready for a trip. We are going to do the air filter clean, maintenance, and recondition on it. Now, things you need to do this is a good quality filter oil, some shop towels, a star screwdriver, and the manual says to use a high flash solvent in order to clean the filter. They say not to use low flash solvents like gasoline or other extremely flammable products for the obvious fire hazard. I don't like chemicals myself, so I'm going to use warm water and dish soap. A good dish soap will pull the oil out of that filter and any contaminants that it's trapping just as well. The difference being is a solvent will flash and dry faster than using soap and water, and you cannot put a wet filter back on your bike, so you need to allow time for it to dry. So the solvent will get you back on the trail faster, but the water prevents me from having to deal with chemicals and haul into the recycle and all that other stuff. So we're going to go that route. I'm not going to be able to actually do the oil conditioning until tomorrow night after work, so it's going to have 20 hours to dry out before I have time to do the oiling part anyways. So it should be plenty good. So to start off, we got to get underneath the seat of the bike and pull out the filter. So if somehow you haven't pulled the seat off your bike yet, you've managed to not have to do it, it is a simple latch underneath the seat, underneath the back, in behind the license plate area. And see if we can get this down here. So this area right here, this nice shiny reflective material, this is actually your battery box, the outside of it, and right above it is the latch for your seat. Just push that over and push it up and it'll release your seat. So now you can see the seat is actually up a little bit. We will set the camera right about here and tilt you down. There we go. Okay, so then we just lift off the seat. It's after the latch, there's only two plastic things here that just grip underneath here. That's all there is to it. Actually, they grip underneath here, sorry. Set that off to the side, just lean it up against the back tire. To get to the air filter here, turn that a little bit better, is you got 4 tabs. You just pop them off, just like that. Lift it and pull it back. It's got 2 tabs at the front that hook underneath, tab hooks right there. Pull that off, give it a little look. Looks really good. There is a rubber seal that goes around here. You want to make sure that that's in good shape still. It's not cracking, anything like that. There's not a bunch of dirt and dust in it. And it looks really nice to me, so I think we're good there. And now we're gonna pull off the filter. We need actually a flathead screwdriver. I thought I just needed a star for the back, but this is held on with a hose clamp, so we're gonna need a flathead screwdriver to undo that. I'll go grab that, we'll be right back. Okay, so we are back with flathead screwdriver. Just gonna pull off this hose clamp right here. Just loosen her off really nice. Set this over here. We don't want to accidentally short out our battery terminals. And that slides off really easy. Take that. Now what we want to do is take a shop rag. Make sure it's a whole one so that you know when you pull this back out, you need to come back out with a whole rag. You're not leaving any rag in there, because that'll go right through your carb and into the top end of your engine. And we're just gonna basically shove this in here in such a way that it will prevent contaminants from going inside that box. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this over and we're going to pull it apart and we're going to get it inside our soapy water. Okay, so this filter is held together with a screw or bolt on the back side. It'll take, I don't know what that is, maybe a 1/4 inch socket or a star screwdriver. Pull that out, and it has a little split ring washer that goes back on that bolt first, and then it also has a flat washer that goes over top on as well. So you're looking at flat washer, split ring washer, and then the bolt head. Set that off to the side. We don't want to be losing that. We got our end cap. And for good measure, we're going to toss that in the water as well. And then the other side, we can pull out the basket. That should be clean because only filtered air went through there, but let's throw it in there as well. May as well clean it all. And then inside your filter, you have a mesh, wire mesh part, which should come out, I believe. Well, we got our pre-filter. Let's take this pre-filter off first. It's kind of a coarser mesh material, almost like a, not as rough as a Scott Brite pad, but a little rougher, or well, a little rougher than your main filter material. You want to make sure you don't tear this anywhere or put any holes in it, because then you'll have to replace that. Then we'll throw that in the water. And now we'll try to get this screen out. I think we can get it out, because it'll be really hard to do this and pressing out the water and stuff. Oh, there we go. So just kind of push down on the filter, then grab the screen. And the filter will, when it expands, will actually push itself right off there. So we got the screen. Now let's throw that in there to wash too, and then your main filter material, which is just foam. It's a foam filter. Throw that all in there. I may not have put enough water in the bucket, and we'll just cover it all really well with dish soap. Just like that. Now, your main filter material, as well as that coarser one, let's move this over a bit more. You don't want to twist it, you don't want to tear at it. What you want to do is just squeeze it, just like a sponge, because that's really all it is. And you just want to work out any contaminants that are in it. Work out all the filter oil. And you'll know if this is clean about the time where it no longer feels oily. You may even have to change out your water a couple of times, but it'll work. Now this filter wasn't overly oily to begin with, and they shouldn't be. You actually take out most of the oil that you put in the filter in the end process, so it really shouldn't have that much oil in it. The oil is just to provide some tackiness for the dirt and dust to stick to as it tries to get through the material. So we're going to set that off to the side for a minute. And set that one off to the side. That one feels really good. I really want to get this screen out of here first so that I don't disform it. And then the basket. And we're just giving that a quick clean off. I say every bit of air that hit this should have been filtered by the filter in the first place, so it shouldn't be dirty at all. And then our end cap, and it'd be a bit dirty on the outside because that's exposed to the atmosphere air that's being sucked in to the air box, but the inside again should be mostly filtered. All right, we're going to set that off to the side. This pre-screen, it's already feeling really good. It's not feeling oily at all anymore. Doesn't look oily. I think we're in good shape there. So we'll set that off to the side. And then it's the main filter material. And this is the one you really want to get. So basically what I'm doing right now inside the bucket is I'm letting it fill full of water, and then I'm pressing it out. And then I'm letting it fill full of water, pressing it out. Okay, so we got everything rinsed off, all the soap is rinsed out of it. Make sure you don't crush your screen there, or wire cage, whatever you want to call it. Plastic cage. In fact, actually, you can probably just put that in like that and it'll help prevent that. And then you got your pre-screen, pre-filter, whatever they want to call it, and then your main filter. And I squeezed this out as best I could. Well, there's a bit more coming out yet. Try to get as much of that water out as possible. And just like that. There we go. Then we'll just stick that in there to dry out as well. I'll just sit in the bucket nice and neat. We'll let it dry out, and then tomorrow we can get to reconditioning it, put it back in the bike. And just before we call it a night here for this bike, last thing to do is inside the motor, or inside the air box, is take a damp cloth, just a damp one, doesn't have to be super wet, nothing like that, just so it's tacky, and wipe it around and get any of the dust and stuff out of here that's in here. And there's a fair bit that's just kind of sticking around the walls of the air box, and you may as well pull that out. It actually says to do this inside the manual as well, but you may as well just pull that out, and then at least you're starting right off from nice and fresh with a clean air box as well. You're not gonna just be putting this dust right here right into your brand new clean filter first fire up afterwards. You know, there's a fair bit in there, like, you know, and that's stuff you don't want to let getting into your motor here. Now, we don't ride well, I guess we do ride dusty conditions. It's not like it's sand or anything, but there are dusty trails, and my daughter does like to have me lead So her bike is definitely gonna see a bit more dust than, say, mine, because I'm up front. But that is about it. The box is looking nice and clean, nice and aired out. And that is her. We're gonna just set this clamp back in here for storage for now, and we'll put the cover back on so that nothing can easily get in there, especially if, I don't know, maybe we get a, definitely doesn't look like it, but get a freak rainstorm or something tonight. We'll just close that on up. And there we go. Put the seat back on for now. Camera's in my way, one sec there. There we go, tripod was just in the way, one of the legs. And you just kind of position that down there. Give it a push down until she clicks. And that is it for now. Tomorrow there we'll recondition that filter. We'll put some new filter oil in it. I'll show you the process of that. You saturate the filter and then basically take out as much as you can afterwards, and then put it back in the bike, and that's the process there. So I'll see you tomorrow. It'll be half a second or so for you, but see you tomorrow. All right, it's the next day. The filter has had time to dry out. We actually had a cooler weather day here today, so I just took everything and put it right by my dehumidifier in the house, and it sucked all the moisture out. There's no moisture at all left anywhere, so we're good to go there. We've done our inspection on the foam filter here, and there's no tears or any damage at all that I can see, so it's looking good. The pre-filter, more coarser bit of foam is really good as well, so I'm not concerned with that. And then, well, there's nothing really that can go wrong with the wire mesh unless you crush it, deform it, whatever. And so that looks fine. The plastic cage is all good. And then our back plate and the bolt with the 2 washers. So what we do now is we take the filter and we saturate it with our filter oil. The manual doesn't specify any specific filter oil, no specifications, any of that. I actually don't see any specifications even on this bottle, so I don't know if there is any. I'm using Lucas High Performance foam filter oil. Says it's anti-clog formula, and it repels moisture and traps dirt and dust. Says it'll stay tacky the entire service life of it. Improves airflow. Light viscosity, low solvent formula, helps to penetrate into the foam better. Stays in place throughout service life. Waterproof formula, blocks out moisture and water. Will not clog the foam filter, and it's got a blue dye. I don't know any that don't have the blue dye, just so that you can actually see how well saturated you have the filter. So we saturate the filter first, and then we actually squeeze most of it out. So let's get to that. All right, you could, I don't know, do this anyway. I just have the bucket here, so we're going to use the bucket just to contain any of the oil, and we're going to basically soak it in. Like that, and press it into the filter. Let's shake it around here. This stuff is super gooey, so you're definitely going to know you got it on your hands anyways. And trying to not just waste a whole bunch of it. You might actually prefer to wear a pair of gloves doing this, just so that you don't get all gooed up. But I have a hard time finding gloves that'll fit my hand, and if I do, I tend to tear them up putting them on, so I just wash up right away so I don't, you know, I don't know, they say you'll get cancer or something if you leave oil on your hand too long. At least that's what the bottle says, and of course that's what California says, because according to California, absolutely everything causes cancer, which they're probably right, but you can't avoid everything. See how this is actually just starting to absorb in now all on its own without me even pressing it in. But I like to press it around, squeeze it around so that it gets throughout that filter really well. We'll keep throwing a bit more on. Kind of like that. Now I've had this bottle of Lucas for quite a while now. I'll admit I don't really clean my air filter on my big quad as often as I probably should, but this stuff does go a long way. It is super tacky. It gets in there really good. Like you can actually see as I squeeze it together and then it pulls apart, you can see all the little strands. Maybe you can see that on camera in the center of the filter building. So just keep on going until it stops absorbing it, I guess. All depends on how much you want to put into it. When I say we're going to be pulling quite a bit of it back out anyways, but the point is to make sure that it is fully saturated in and out, top to bottom, so that there's no dry spots of the filter that dust and finer particles can get through. The whole idea of the oil is just it's something tacky, so the air gets through but dust will stick to it. We're getting this pretty good. You don't want it so saturated at the end that it's going to choke out your bike. But I say you don't want dry spots. So once I can feel it in and out all the way around, top and bottom, I think we'll call it good. Well, it's looking pretty good to me. You can see pretty even blue all the way through it. As I squeeze on it now, you can actually see I'm squeezing oil out now. Like that, all the way around. So I'm actually squeezed out quite a bit of the oil. So I think we're done there. So that is that. Rinse off your hand. And then what you want to do is take some more shop towel and just kind of pull out all the excess. So we're going to move this off to the side for a second. I'm just going to pull out some shop towel and probably double layer it. Right there. Close enough. We'll throw our filter on top. And we'll double layer again. Just cause. And then I'm just gonna press on it, pull out some of that oil. Just pull out the excess. So fold that. That. There we go. Let's move over to a little cleaner spot of this rag, and we'll just press out a bit more excess. And that is it. We don't want to press it all out, but it should still be wet and tacky to the touch, like if you squeeze it, which it is. But you shouldn't be able to really squeeze a lot of oil back out of it. So I think we're looking good right there. Alright, so now we'll put our screen in here. This just kind of keeps the filter in its shape, gives it some structure. This could cut the filter on the way in, so you kind of want to be a little careful about that, because that screen is a bit on the tight side. Then we got our pre-screen here. This will stretch a little bit, just kind of pull it over. And then let's turn it inside out first. You can kind of see which side's inside out because it's got glue on the where they made the seam. Join the two ends. We're just going to put this, just start it over top, and then we're actually going to fold it inside out as we pull it over. It might not have been necessary. It's actually going on pretty good without doing this fold over, but as tight as it was kind of coming off, I thought I'd have to do that, do the fold over trick. But either way, it'll work. So this pre-screen is basically just going to keep, you know, the larger stuff. You get some leaves, stuff like that inside your air box. That's kind of large now. Stretched it out a little. Just kind of push it together. It'll be all right. Got our cage. Put this on top of the cage. Got our end cap. Put that on. And then we got our bolt and the two washers. Remember, it's a flat washer and then a split washer. Split washer goes between the flat washer and the head of the bolt. This cap is just plastic, so you don't want to be having that split washer just digging into the plastic. A couple of services and then you'll be cut through that plastic. So you want that in there. We're just going to tuck this pre-screen part into this filter as we go, because it is on the outside now. It's fitting quite large. There we go. And same on the top. Okay, I'm going to grab a screwdriver and tighten this up, and then we'll go put this back in the bike. Okay, so we're back in the airbox. We pull out our hose clamp, pull out our rag that we used to cover that in, and just take a quick look in there, make sure it's all cleared out. And because we put in a full rag, not a ripped one or anything like that, we can take a look at it and everything came out. Not that it was in there tight for anything to really come out anyways, but you know, it's just a good thing to do. Anytime you use a rag to cover up a hole, a port, when you're building a motor, anything like that, you want to do that. So this goes inside of this flange, Hose clamp goes on the outside of that flange, and it's got a nice little tab right here that actually holds that hose clamp so that the screw part's right here for you. That's really nice. And then just shove that on us all the way as far as it'll go. Everything looks really good. Tighten up your hose clamp. Make sure it's nicely centered. I'm just pulling it forward just a little bit here. That twisted just a wee bit. There we go. Nicely centered. Then just tighten it up. Now, this part's a bit rubbery, so you're not going to break that. But your cage, part of your filter that you put inside there, is plastic, so you don't want to tighten that up too tight and break it. It's only holding on your air filter anyways, and it's actually got a couple of plastic tabs in the bottom of the air box supporting it as well, so that isn't a big deal. You don't need to have it super tight, just tight enough that it won't vibrate off. And that is it for this portion. So now we put our lid back in. It's got a tab here as well that goes behind the filter and over top of the bolt head to prevent that filter from coming off, even if that hose clamp does come loose. And it's got also a couple other tabs here to hold the filter on the top side. So these are similar to what's in the bottom of the air box. And so the filter's held in there, top and bottom, as well as on the back from sliding out. So then you just put that back in there like that, slide those two tabs underneath here, put all four clips back up into place. Make sure your airbox does sit down fully, because it does have a rubber gasket on it that needs to sit on top of the airbox correctly. So the lid part. And you can put these tabs on if it's not sitting on there correctly. They'll be tight, but you can put them on. So if they don't come off and on really fairly easy like that, then check your alignment on your lid for your airbox. You may have it incorrect there. That is it for doing the filter. Okay, so that is the end of part 4 and how to clean and recondition your air filter for a Brute Force 300. If you enjoyed this video and you found value in it, do all the normal YouTube stuff. That'd be great, helps us out. And otherwise, thank you for watching. Have a great day.